find out who's telling the truth.
Brilliant! Brilliant!
Get back to the control room. There we are. Hey, everybody. Guys, we have to apologize in advance. It's all Judy's fault. Right, Judy?
Oh, sure.
All right. Guys, hey, it's live TV, and we didn't have our act together today, so what are you going to do? But this is show number 120, and today's date is December 14th, 2015, and the name of the show is The War on Carbon. And you're going to say, Rich, a war on carbon? What are you talking about? Guys, you know, we have some conservative friends in the Danbury neighborhood and on Facebook. And one of them is Dave Straight. And Dave Straight's a global warming denier, as is Marty, as is Uncle Joey. I love, oh, we're going to have fun with Uncle Joey tonight, guys. Boy, are we. I said, Joey, we're going to make so much fun of you tonight that even you're not going to like yourself. But when you see what he put up on Facebook, you'll understand why. But guys, tonight's show, like Dave Straight always says, he goes, Rich, if you want to know what's going on, follow the money. Now, the one thing, you know, on very few network TV stations and on very few of the cable news networks, very little is being said about the Paris Climate Summit. So guys, we're going to take a page out of Dave Straight's book, and hopefully Judy can bring up still number 28. And guys, I want you to take a good look at this chart. So Judy, can we have still 28? Guys, look at the price of crude oil. Like it fell off a cliff. And today, the price of crude is down to $36.24. Judy, can you come back to me?
Brilliant! Brilliant!
Judy, one more time with the brilliant, please.
Brilliant! Brilliant!
But guys, anyway, if we can go back and forth to the still, Judy. Guys, the next time you pull up to the pump, I want you to thank President Obama, because look what he's done to the price of oil. And look what renewable energy is starting to do to the price of oil. So guys, you know, when the world declared a war on carbon, and the first clip we're going to play, you're going to notice, guys, he's speaking French. I don't speak his language, but you know what? I understood every word he said. So Judy, let's have clip number 1, please.
J'invite maintenant la COP à adopter le projet de décision intitulé Accord de Paris qui figure dans le document. Je regarde la salle, je vois que la réaction est positive, je n'entends pas d'objection. L'accord de Paris pour le climat est accepté.
Guys, like I said, I don't speak any French, but I understand that they reached a climate agreement and it was accepted. That's like the French Canadians, you know? And, but anyway, guys, we've done it. We finally did it. And you know, things got a little shaky there for a while. It looked like we weren't going to come up with an agreement. But I think what happened is word got out that we were on to, you know, who's telling the truth. Judy, can you put up our bug, and can you put up our Facebook page so everybody can get in touch with us? But guys, I think what happened is word got out in Paris that Who's Telling the Truth was on to them. And they said, guys, listen, Uncle Rich is on to us if we don't vote the right way, you know? And let's be honest, guys, the last show we had less than 100 views, but it only takes one view. All we got to do is reach the right person, and look what happens. So Judy, let's have the full clip now. And guys, look at the celebration. Just look at the happiness. And I want you to pay attention to the first guy that you see after they go to the crowd. Because I tell you, a lot of the conservatives, Uncle Joey, Marty, Dave, you guys ain't gonna be happy campers when you see this clip. But you know what? The truth always hurts. And you know, with science, you're always told the truth. So Judy, let's have clip number 2, please.
J'invite maintenant la COP à adopter le projet de décision intitulé Accord de Paris qui figure dans le document. Je regarde la salle, je vois que la réaction est positive, je n'entends pas d'objection. L'accord de Paris pour le climat est accepté.
Boy, oh boy, Mr. Al Gore. And I tell you, if the one person the conservatives love to hate when it comes to climate change, it's Al Gore. And why? Because he came up with the movie An Inconvenient Truth. And now, years and years after the movie came out, now he finally gets his justice. You know, in front of 196 countries had to sign on. They had 183 different plans. I mean, guys, this is big. And you have to be honest with yourself. You have to say, look, the science doesn't lie. And you can't get all these people in one place at one time to discuss one issue. And there, oh boy, I tell you, Uncle Joey must be twisting right now. He must be twisting. All right, Judy, can you come back to me now? You know? And guys, hey, if there's one thing I love to do, I love to put salt in the wound. And why? Not because I'm vicious, because I've done my homework. And why haven't you done yours? And this is what drives me crazy. You know, I'm an average guy, just like, you know, most other people, unless you're a die-hard conservative who doesn't really care about the truth. I mean, anybody can go look up what NASA has to say, what the National Academy of Sciences has to say. Anybody. Anybody. You can look this stuff up, and most of it's in videos, you know? But the next clip, we're going to show Secretary of State John Kerry. And, you know, he's thanking everybody at COP21. And the, you know, COP21 stands for the Conference of Parties. It's the 21st time that the world has gotten together to try to solve the problem of global warming. And guys, it took 21 attempts. But now we finally got it. So Judy, let's have clip number 3, please. No. I'm sorry, I should have told you, Judy. Now, I wanted to play the Kool and the Gang thing to celebrate when they were dancing around, but we couldn't overlay it. So that's my mistake. But we want to go to the next clip after that, and I'm pretty sure, what do you got there, Judy? Do you have the clip with Kerry? Yeah. It should be should be number 3, clip number 3, or number 4. No, number 4 is the still. I don't know how to do this. No. All right.
This is a tremendous
there you go. That's what we want.
All of our citizens, not for any one country or any one bloc, but for everybody here who has worked so hard to bring us across the finish line. It's a victory for all of the planet and for future generations. We have set a course here the world has come together around an agreement that will empower us to chart a new path for our planet, a smart and responsible path, a sustainable path. And extraordinarily, we are 196 delegations, 186 plans. That is a remarkable global commitment. We have reached an agreement that while everybody here understands there are things here and there that everybody doesn't like, it will help the world prepare for the impacts of climate change that are already here, and also for those we know are now headed our way inevitably. And we have reached an agreement that, fully implemented, will help us transition to a global, clean energy economy and ultimately prevent the worst, most devastating consequences of climate change from ever happening. There's been a remarkable spirit of collegiality, a determination not to repeat mistakes of the past, and a compelling urgency to the sense that we had to be successful. We, I think, as a result, can leave behind on Earth a legacy for our children and our grandchildren, generations to come. And I know that we will, all of us, be better off for the agreement that we have finalized here today.
All right, so guys, you pretty much, heard what Kerry had to say. And then, of course, my good buddy Uncle Joe, whose website is Things to Ponder, he wanted to put up a rebuttal to what happened in Paris. So, Judy, can we have still number 4, please? And guys, Uncle Joey operates Things to Ponder. All right, so if you want to pay him a visit, and guys, this is what he wrote in on his Facebook page. What a joke! The big scam. Now, if you do not go with the hoax, they will shame you. What does that even mean? Are these people real? Or do they just know what the people who buy into the scam are that dumb? Now, guys, of course, Uncle Joey, and Judy, can you come back and forth? Uncle Joey has to put something derogatory on, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's said, what's proven, what's true, what's real. That doesn't matter to Uncle Joe. So you see what he puts up. He puts up a video clip where he says John Kerry admits that the Paris, Judy, come back, I got to read it. So, admits that the Paris Climate Agreement can't be enforced. And guys, he had one comment, and we have a call, but we don't have the mic hooked up for the call. So Kurt, we got to get you on that. We got to get a mic out here, and it's got to be run to the phone. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to play the next clip. And, no, I'm sorry. So Uncle Joey, he said it was a joke, a scam, a hoax, and it was shameful, right? And guys, I want you to listen to what Kerry said. So Judy, let's have clip number 5, please. Nope, that's not the right one.
This is... You don't always need
there
a sledgehammer.
There we go.
If you can provide people with technology, or you provide them with technical assistance, or you've discovered
Judy, can you start it again,
new
please?
means of reducing emissions more... You don't always need a sledgehammer. If you can provide people with technology, or you provide them with technical assistance, or you've discovered a new means of reducing emissions more at less cost, more efficiency, there will be a huge sharing of these kinds of experiences through the reporting mechanism of the agreement.
All right, now guys, did you hear what he said at the very beginning of the clip? Judy, one more time, just the first few words.
You don't always need a sledgehammer.
Okay, beautiful. Come back to me. Now guys, speak of the devil. Judy, let's have clip number 6, please. Ah, brother.
Proud of you, son. GE, manufacturer.
Well, that's why I dug this out for you.
It's your grandpappy's hammer, and he would have wanted you to have it.
It meant a lot to him.
Yes, GE makes powerful machines, but I'll be writing the code that will allow those machines to share information with each other. I'll be changing the way the world...
You can't pick it up, can you? Go ahead. You can't lift the hammer.
It's okay, though. You're going to change the world.
You can't pick it up, can you? And you see, guys, this is the problem. You know, with the change in technology, things are so much different than they used to be. And we have to learn to change. We have to learn to adapt. We have to learn to overcome. I know Joe's going to like that because his kid's in the service. But this is what we have to do. We've got a war on carbon. It's that simple. And guys, somebody put on the internet, and it was so cute, and I wanted to do the show, and I wanted to name the show Peace Panels. Because, you know, a lot of times when I talked about solar panels, you know, I said, put a tattoo on your roof. Well, she outdid me, and she calls them peace panels. And guys, you know what? We'll never have to send our kids to fight for sunlight. Hey, Kurt, are you getting together with this microphone thing and everything? You're not? Okay, that settles that. All right, so guys, the next clip, we're going to play the full clip, the full Kerry clip. And, you know, once again, you'll be able to hear, and this is the clip that Uncle Joey, you know, posted on his Facebook page. And guys, just take a listen. So, Judy, let's have number 7, please. Guys, like they said, there's going to be trillions of dollars to be made in the renewable energy revolution. It's that simple. And I mean, for guys like Uncle Joey, you know, to keep swimming upstream and to keep running against the wind, you know, when are you going to stop? You know, why don't you get on board with this and let's move forward? You know, you guys are so afraid they're going to take control. They're going to take control. I'm going to have to pay more. No, you're going to pay less. Look what's happened to the gas prices. Is that proof enough that renewable energy works? You put solar panels on your roof and what happens? You create trickle-down economics. It's that simple. You know, you redistribute wealth into your own pocket. And you can be patriotic about it. And you can call them peace panels. And you can want to put up patriotic peace panels just to show your fervence to America. And my buddy Mike from Solar City. Hey, Mike, how about if you had solar panels with an American flag? That's an idea, isn't it? And everybody can show their patriotism, how they want to fight the war on carbon. And guess what? None of our kids will ever get killed fighting that war. You know, we got so much sun and wind, we don't know what to do with it. I mean, come on. Let's get with the program. And guys, the next clip we're going to play, it's just to give Uncle Joe a little bit more of the bada bing. And why? Because he's so against President Obama. And the thing is, they never really listened to Obama. They listened to what people who have listened to Obama have come up with. So, Joe, this is the one time where you're going to have to really sit there and for once, it's only a 4-minute clip, but you're going to have to listen to Obama and you're going to have to explain how climate change is making refugees out of so many different people. And you can deny it all you want. And you can deny the fact that the problems in Syria weren't created by climate change. You can deny anything you want. But when 196 countries get together, guess what? The science is settled. And you can say the science is never settled. Well, you know what? For all intent purposes, it is. So why don't you get with the program? But let's have a little fun. This is an interview on CBS, and this is President Obama. So, Judy, let's have clip number 8, please.
Mr. President, welcome back from Paris.
Wonderful to see you.
Do you believe that climate change is the #1 threat to the world today?
Look, we have a lot of issues that we have to deal with. Obviously, we have the immediate issue of terrorism and ISIL. And while I was in Paris, I had the opportunity not only to pay my respects at the site where so many innocent Parisians had been killed, but also to consult with world leaders generally about the need for everybody to be focused on going after ISIL as aggressively as possible. But what is also true is that climate change poses not only a medium and long-term threat, but it actually makes all the other threats worse. When you start seeing major shifts in climate, that translates into drought, floods, refugees, people who are displaced. It puts strains on every country, particularly poor countries. And that then aggravates the possibilities of war, conflict, terrorism. And so it's something that we have to take seriously. And unlike many of these other problems, there is the possibility of us being too late if we don't take rapid action when it comes to climate change. The good news is, coming out of Paris, as I said in a press conference yesterday, we have seen unprecedented mobilization of the world community. People are taking it seriously, and we have a chance actually to solve this problem if we act forcefully and quickly.
And you have made it a serious part of your agenda. And you did say in the State of the Union that no challenge poses a greater threat to future generations than climate change. Do you mean that it's a greater threat than terrorism?
What I mean by that is that we're going to get ISIL. They will be defeated. There will be ongoing efforts to disrupt the world order from terrorists, from rogue states, from cyber attacks. One of the things you learn being president is that there's always some bad people out there trying to do bad things, and we have to be vigilant in going after them. But what is also true is that if the fundamentals of the planet change, if you start seeing the oceans rise by 5, 6, 7 feet, if you see major shifts in weather patterns so that what have been previously bread baskets to the world suddenly can no longer grow food, then you're seeing the kind of crisis that we can't deal with through the deployment of the Marines. We can't deal with it through throwing money at it. We only have one planet, and so we've got to get this right.
I mean, you've made the case that drought and high food prices contributed to the civil unrest in Syria.
Right. Well, what we know is that as human beings are placed under strain, then bad things happen. And if you look at world history, whenever people are desperate, when people start lacking food, when people are not able to make a living or take care of their families, that's when ideologies arise that are dangerous. And so, one of the things that's very important for us to recognize is that a great country, a great power like the United States, we have to lead on every front. We don't have the luxury of choosing which issue to deal with. We have to deal with all of them. We have to deal with pandemics like Ebola. We have to deal with potential financial crises. We have to deal with incursions by large states like Russia into smaller states like Ukraine. We have to deal with terrorism and ISIL. And yes, we've got to deal with climate change. And we have the capacity to do all these things. We just have to make sure that we are prioritizing these issues and putting the resources and the science that we know about behind finding solutions.
All right. So, guys, it's like the president says, desperate people do desperate things. And you know, if you can't feed your family, it gets pretty desperate. And you know, Joe, you could say whatever you want, but it hasn't rained in Syria for 4 years. You know, these poor bastards, they used to live in the country. They were farmers. That's what they did. They couldn't farm anymore, so they had to move into the cities. Same thing's going to happen here. You can say, oh, you know, it can't happen. Hey, listen. You know, the ocean's getting warmer. The water's expanding. So far, the ocean levels have increased, 8 inches. I mean, things are changing. The acidity of the oceans. You know, we got clams that can't grow shells anymore. And you guys are going to deny it for what? For your political party? Is that what you want to do? What about your kids? Don't you care about them? You have to. And guys, you know, we can talk until we're blue in the face, but you know what? Elon Musk, one of the guys who is most treasured on this show. You know, Elon Musk brought us Tesla and SpaceX and Solar City, and he bought us the Powerwall batteries, and he's building the Gigafactory, and Solar City's building the solar panel plant in Buffalo, and everybody's getting paid a living wage with benefits. So anyway, Elon Musk went to Paris, and guys, he explained how the renewable revolution is going to affect everybody. And I think everybody, except guys like Uncle Joey, are going to be pleasantly surprised when they see what the future has to offer. So Judy, let's have, now this is clip number 21, Judy. So let's have clip 21, please.
All right, well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. Paris is one of my favorite places in the world, and it's actually on the first trip that I went out of South Africa, Paris, that was where I went when I was a little kid. Well, my parents brought me when I was like 6 years old, so I've loved Paris ever since. So thank you for having me. What I'm going to talk about today is just, in general terms, what is needed to address the climate crisis. And this is the thing that if we do, what actions can we take that will accelerate the transition out of the fossil fuel era? So where we are today is, let's see if this is working, maybe not. Okay. All right. We have the present era, where we have the carbon cycle. And my apologies if some of you already know all about this, but I think some of these things are maybe not as obvious as they may seem. So there's a certain amount of carbon that is circulating through the environment. So it's going into the air, being absorbed by, and then getting absorbed by plants and animals, and then going back into the air. And this carbon is just circulating on the surface. And this is fine, and it's been doing that for millions, hundreds of millions of years. The thing that's changed is that we've added something to the mix. So this is what I would call the sort of the turd in the punch bowl. So we added all this extra carbon to the carbon cycle, and the net result is that the carbon in the ocean's atmosphere is growing over time. It's much more than can be absorbed by the ecosystem. It's really quite simple. We're taking billions of tons of carbon that's been buried for hundreds of millions of years and is not part of the carbon cycle, taking it from deep underground and adding it to the carbon cycle. The result is that a steady increase in the carbon in the atmosphere and in the oceans, which doesn't look like much if you look at it on this chart, but when looked at in the context of history, it actually looks like this. So the carbon parts per million has really been bouncing around the 300 level for around 10 million years. And then in the last few hundred years, it went into a vertical climb. This is the essence of the problem. This is very unusual. and a very, very extreme threat, as you can see from this rate of growth. Then this is accompanied by a temperature increase, as one would expect. And this temperature increase, people talk about 2 degrees or 3 degrees. It's important to appreciate just how sensitive the climate actually is to temperature. And it's important to look at it in terms of absolute temperature, not in degrees Celsius relative to 0. We need to say, what is the temperature change relative to absolute 0? That's how the universe thinks about temperature. It's how physics thinks about temperature. It's relative to absolute 0. So for small changes result in huge effects. So New York City under ice would be -5 degrees. New York City underwater would be +5 degrees. But looked at as a percentage relative to absolute 0, it's only a ±2% change. So the sensitivity of the climate is extremely high. We've amplified this sensitivity by building our cities right on the coastline, and most people live very close to the ocean. There are some countries, of course, that are very low-lying and would be completely underwater in a climate crisis. So we've essentially designed civilization to be super sensitive to climate change. And the important thing to appreciate is that we are going to exit the fossil fuels era. So it is inevitable that we will exit the fossil fuels era, because at a certain point we will simply run out of carbon to mine and burn. So the question is really, when do we exit the era, not if. The goal is to exit the era as quickly as possible. That means we need to move from the old goal, with the pre-industrial goal, which was to move from chopping down forests and killing lots of whales. The old goal was to move from chopping wood and killing whales to fossil fuels, which actually, in that context, was a good thing. But the new goal is to move to a sustainable energy future. And we want to use things like hydro, solar, wind, geothermal. Nuclear is also a good option in places like France, which aren't subject to natural disasters. And we want to use energy sources that will be good for 1 billion years. So how do we accelerate this transition away from fossil fuels to a sustainable era? And what happens if we don't?
What happens if we don't make the transition? Guys, what happens is we keep going off the chart. I mean, look at this. Is this ridiculous? I mean, look, all these years, look at how nice and level this was. And then what happens? Bada bing. And I mean, this is just within the last 100 years, guys. And, you know, if it looks like a hockey stick, guess what? It's a hockey stick. And that's another thing, you know, with some of my Facebook friends, you know. They say, well, Rich, you know, you have to prove this, and what happens when you drag people into court? Guys, like the last show we did was the RICO. Oh, and we got a call. Let's see who's calling. Who's telling the truth?
I think I am more than you, but we'll leave that up to a further debate.
All right.
When you talked about the conference in Paris,
yes.
What do you think was actually determined by 11 days of what I call a free and paid vacation?
Well, what they did was they set parameters.
Right.
And what they did, the most important thing is, first of all, that we acknowledged that we have a problem. The most beneficial thing is that every 5 years, each company is going to review the progress it's been making in changing the business model and in changing the environment. And
Now,
what you're
setting up those parameters?
What's that?
Who is setting up those parameters?
Well, each country, there was 196 countries that were involved in the meeting.
That number keeps changing, but that's okay.
Well, no, the 196 is the actual total of the countries that were there. And out of the 196...
Who represented each country? Who were the representatives of each country?
What do you want me to tell you their names now, please?
No. I mean, just what positions from each country?
Well, you saw from the United States we had Secretary of State Kerry. You know, there's a lot of different, but let's get to each country. There was 183 proposals put on the table as to what each country was gonna do. And what we're gonna do is we're all gonna start to share this information so that when one country says, hey, listen, how come your wind turbines are able to generate 5% more electricity than mine? What are you doing that we're not? And we start to share everything. And the world comes together as one. And we start to move forward. Now, wouldn't you agree that global warming is a severe problem that needs to be addressed?
I don't know yet.
You don't know. Well, you know what? I don't know if there's anything, when 196 countries get together, and you don't know why they're getting together.
Wait a minute. I know why they were getting together. I'll put it bluntly. I think it was for an 11-day paid vacation. But
come on, say no. You got to be a conservative, and you got to be ridiculous. And with no. With that, I'm shutting you off.
Wait a minute.
No, guys, I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not going to put an 11-day paid vacation. Is that what you really? Now, what was the next thing she was going to say? Why did they burn all that put all that CO2 in the air? Because they all took planes over there. What did you think they were going to walk? And this is what we have to deal with. And this is the type of stuff, guys, you can't put up with it anymore. Enough with the simple folk stuff. You know, if you want to be a denier because your political party tells you to be a denier, just be honest with me. Just like my sister said. She said to me, Rich, when I became an activist, she said, Rich, I've been a Republican all my life, and I'm going to die a Republican. And guys, I thanked her for it, because you know why? We never talked about it again. But you know, she died. So now that the thought dies with her, and that's what we have to do. We have to kill these ideas. And you know, how you can get somebody like that, do you really think, and like people like Uncle Joey, do you really think all these people got together because this is a hoax? Guys, if we don't get this problem fixed, we're not going to have a planet anymore. So you can deny all you want, and you can come up with this henhouse garbage. You know, well, you know, they wanted a paid vacation. No, they didn't want a paid vacation. If they wanted a paid vacation, they would have went somewhere where they wouldn't be bothered by you simple folk. Not really. You know, and I don't mean to be mean, but, you know, you're causing me to be mean. All right, now let's go to part B of Elon Musk. And I'm sure that you guys are going to have something bad to say about this. But Judy, let's have clip number 22, please.
So how do we accelerate this transition away from fossil fuels to a sustainable era? And what happens if we don't? So if we wait, and if we delay the change, the best case is simply delaying that inevitable transition to sustainable energy. So this is the best case if we don't take action now. At the risk of being repetitive, there's going to be no choice in the long term to move to sustainable energy. It's tautological. We have to have sustainable energy, or we'll simply run out of the other one. So the only thing we gain by slowing down the transition is just slowing it down. It doesn't make it not occur. It just slows it down. The worst case, however, is more displacement and destruction than all the wars in history combined. Okay, these are the best worst case scenarios. So then we have about 3% of scientists that believe in the best case, about 97% that believe in the worst case. This is why I call it the dumbest experiment in history ever. Like, why would you do this? So the reason that the transition is delayed or is happening slowly is because there is a hidden subsidy on all carbon-producing activity. In a healthy market, if you have, say, 10 euros of benefit and 4 euros of harm to society, the profit would be 6 euros. This sort of makes obvious sense. This is where the incentives are aligned with a good future. This is not the case today. But if you have the incentives aligned, then the forcing function towards a good future, towards a sustainable energy future, will be powerful. In an unhealthy market, you have your 10 euros of benefit, you have your 4 euros, but the 4 euros isn't taxed. So you have an untaxed negative externality. This is basically economics 101. So you have basically unreasonable profit and a forcing function to do carbon-emitting activity, because this cost to society is not being paid. The net result is 35 gigatons of carbon per year into the atmosphere. So this is analogous to not paying for garbage collection. And it's not as though we should say, in the case of garbage, have a garbage-free society. It's very difficult to have a garbage-free society. But it's just important that people pay for the garbage collection. So we need to go from having an untaxed negative externality, which is effectively a hidden carbon subsidy of enormous size, $5.3 trillion a year, according to the IMF, every year. We need to move away from this and have a carbon tax. So, but this is being fought quite hard by the carbon producers, and they're using tactics that are very similar to what the cigarette industry or the tobacco industry used for many years. They would take the approach of even though the overwhelming scientific consensus was that smoking cigarettes was bad for you, they would find a few scientists that would disagree, and then they would say, look, scientists disagree. So that's essentially how they would try to trick the public into thinking that smoking is not that bad. The solution, obviously, is to remove the subsidy. So that means we need to have a carbon tax, and to make it sort of something which is neither a left nor a right issue, we should make it probably a revenue-neutral carbon tax. So this would be a case of increasing taxes on carbon, but then reducing taxes in other places. So maybe there would be a reduction in sales tax or VAT, and an increase in carbon tax, so that only those using high levels of carbon would pay an increased tax. And moreover, in order to give industry time to react, this could be a phased-in approach, so that maybe it takes 5 years before the carbon taxes are very high. So that means that only companies that don't take action today will suffer in 5 years. But there needs to be a clear message from government in this regard. Because the fundamental problem is the rules today incent people to create carbon. And this is madness. And whatever you incent will happen. That's why we're seeing very little effect thus far. And depending upon what action we take, will drive the carbon number to either extreme or moderate levels. I think it's pretty much a given that the 2-degree C increase will occur. The question is whether it's going to be much more than that, not if there will be a 2-degree increase. Then the question is, so what can you do? I would say whenever you have the opportunity, talk to your politicians, ask them to enact a carbon tax. We have to fix the unpriced externality. I would talk to your friends about it and fight the propaganda from the carbon industry. So that's the basic message I have, and I'm happy to take questions. Thank you.
Guys, we're going to have to pay the piper. One way or the other, we have to pay the piper. I mean, it's that simple, you know? And I'll tell you, I love the idea of a revenue-neutral carbon tax. You know, phased in over 5 years. I mean, any business in America is going to know in 5 years what they're going to have to face so they can make the adjustments now so people don't get hurt. It benefits everybody. And you know, one of the problems is, and you always hear this on Fox News, you know, government sets the rules. We need smaller government. No, we need a government that's going to watch over and say, fellas, play by the rules. And you know, right now, we have an energy policy that is rigged to boost the profits of big oil at the expense of average Americans. I mean, really, we've got a system where CEOs are making extravagant amounts of money. Why? Because they bribed the politicians. It's that simple, guys. The politicians are on the take, and why is the Republican Party the only political party, the Republican Party of the United States, the only political party in the world that denies that the climate is changing and it's for the worse? Why is that? Because the Koch brothers bought them. It's that simple. That's why watch any Republican running for president. All of them are climate deniers, and especially Ted Cruz. And if you go back 3 shows, you know what a job we did on him. Boy, I tell you, we had so much fun making him look stupid. And I tell you, it was worth every minute of it. All right, so guys, now you know, we just featured Elon Musk. And, you know, Elon Musk has done so many dynamite things. And guys, next week, we're not going to be live next week, but next week is going to be our wrap-up show. So I think what we're going to do is next week we're going to have the highlights of 2015. Because the following week after that, we're going to be off because the studio's closed. Santa Claus is coming, guys. I forgot to tell you. So anyway, the next clip is something that Elon Musk has been working on, and it's called the Hyperloop. And I've been promising you this for so long, and I'm finally going to be able to deliver it to you. So Judy, let's have clip number 23, please.
You've heard the saying, time is money, and it is. Perhaps that's why we complain about travel. How can we get there faster? Can this experience be better? We dream about moving comfortably from place to place in the blink of an eye. That's essentially the dream of the Hyperloop. What exactly is the Hyperloop?
It's very similar to an airplane on high altitudes. You have a low pressure environment inside the tube, a capsule that doesn't touch anywhere, hovers, and then because of the low pressure doesn't encounter a lot of resistance.
How do you envision the Hyperloop changing the way we live?
To connect 2 major cities that are normally 6, 7, 8, 9 hours apart within 15 to 30 minutes changes the way we live. We're living in areas that are completely overfilled. We're sitting in traffic every single day for hours.
And you think the Hyperloop could be the solution?
I think the Hyperloop is for sure one of the solutions.
A possible solution, maybe, but it's far from a reality. This concept of humans traveling around in tubes has been around for more than a century. Then, in 2013, Elon Musk drafted up actual blueprints and put the challenge of building it to the engineering community. And, as it turns out, there were a few willing to try. Hyperloop transportation technologies took on the challenge, but quickly realized they didn't have the design expertise. Enter UCLA.
The engineering aspects of this, they're actually quite simple. It's really the design that is the most technically challenging.
What's so challenging is it's an unconventional system. And so you sort of have to invent everything from the ground up. The track is an entirely different element. The station is entirely different. The process of boarding is different. So as architects, what we're trying to do is stitch together the technology, the social change, and the human experience.
So do we know what it's going to feel like to be traveling at 700 miles an hour in one of these tubes?
You'll accelerate.
And you'll feel that physically.
You'll feel that as a thrust, like a very fast, powerful car, like a Tesla. You will feel almost no sense of motion once you're at speed. You're mainly going to experience getting there and stopping.
Each year, this UCLA grad program takes on a big problem and tries to solve it. The Hyperloop's biggest problem? Making tube travel comfortable.
So this is kind of like the Hyperloop think tank design center right now. What are these models over here?
So we have two sets of models. The first ones here at the back, they were really study models that were investigating. These are more of a finished product that investigate more of the interior situation and also the sitting.
So these are all the options of the capsules. What about the stations here?
So same thing with the station. This station is probably the most compact station, and it really, the entire activity actually happens almost here. This is more still of a lounge shopping area.
This is where you get your magazines, your coffee.
But still everything happens on the go.
This one looks very complicated here.
Yes, it is maybe not as complicated as it is grand. The students were really inspired by Grand Central Station, and this station really is able to hold 6,000 passengers.
6,000 passengers?
Within 1 hour. But the idea is not to be in the station, at the station for an hour. This is the interesting one because it uses a very different system. You come here on the road system, you're dropped off, and this is in a way your pod. So you need to know with your phone probably
it's
which...
almost like your terminal, which one you get dropped off at. You're traveling at speeds of hundreds of miles an hour. How could this possibly be safe?
In railroads, most accidents were all human factors. So we're in a closed system. We're completely managed by a computer system. There's no human factor that can actually create those issues.
How much money have you guys raised here?
Zero.
How are you going to get this off the ground?
Innovation is done in teams. It's not done by a single person.
Do you feel like you're working on a project that's really going to change the future?
Oh, absolutely. If I have a date and I want to see the opera in San Francisco, I can literally do that and be back in time to go to sleep in my own house. I mean, that's the nature of the kinds of disruptive change that this can bring in. To be able to be part of this effort is a dream come true.
Huh? It should be the Elon revolution, never mind. Guys, the last clip we're going to follow up with is a clip from Next Generation. They do some beautiful stuff. I think they're backed by Tom Steyer. So we're going to play this clip. It's a very short clip. So Judy, let's have number 26, please.
Let's talk about Paris and a potential deal.
26.
America's never been a country of quitters. It's not who we are. We don't ignore threats like climate change. We face our problems head on. With American-made clean energy, we can end our dependence on foreign oil, spark new innovation, and create millions of new jobs. Solving our climate crisis starts with 50% clean energy by 2030. So, what are we waiting for?
All right, guys, what are we waiting for? We're waiting for Judy. We're waiting for Judy.